arrays specifically. And what I'll do is build off day one of the dice code example. Because you see the similarities. And we generate a random number, but now we want a random response, a random answer. Let's just stick with three, yes, no, and maybe. So when we click the screen, we're going to see sometimes yes, sometimes no, sometimes maybe. First, we'll do it using like variables, just using words. And then secondly, we'll put them all into arrays, since all of it has similar data. So just to remind you, this is the code from day one of the dice game. We click the screen, a random number is generated, correct? So for now, or maybe you're thinking, okay, I don't really need an array, I still want to accomplish this assignment. Nothing stops you from going down into your code similarly. And let's say, instead of making a circle appear, let's see, so I'm going to delete this part. And let's say, okay, when your number that's being generated, die value equals 1, the text I'm going to display at a certain region is yes. Let's have it be in this part of the screen over here. So maybe that's x coordinate 150, y coordinate 300, 100 and up by 100. And similarly, if ever you get Beanos die value, whatever is being generated or rolled, if that becomes 2, then your text is going to be no. And you have that last line. You notice the similarities here. You're going to put this in. Now it's going to be 3. And we're going to say maybe. And let's see what happens. So we save and run. We see 6. Nothing happens when we see 6. We see 1. The word yes appears. We see 2. The word no appears. And let's see if we get a 3. And then 3 maybe appears. So you could do this 8-ball assignment without using an array, but I want you to pay attention now to turn this into an array and see some of the benefits of using an array. Notice the repetition of some code here. We could condense that down to really just one line. And let me walk through those steps. The first thing you should notice is when you have code being repeated, you try to find the similarities amongst them. And here I notice, okay, I'm checking my die value against some kind of number, and then I use the text function over and over again. And what's similar is like yes, no, and maybe, they're all words. They're all being displayed in the same position, so I could reuse a lot of code. So at the very top, this matters. One student was asking me about this. Let's say var answers. I declared it up here. It's just like a variable. So I declared my answers array. Let's declare and initialize my answers array. So right now I just declared it. I said it exists. For arrays, you need to use these square brackets. Notice right now there are 2 square brackets right side by side, so it looks like a little rectangle. That is the empty array. Your array has nothing inside. It's like setting things equal to 0 if it was just a number, like up here. So I initialize it, I said it exists, I set it equal to 0. Over here, we can do that once more. Initialize answers array again. So that looks like answers equals square brackets. Notice when I leave off var, some of you may have put var here. That creates another copy of your answers array. And if you can't access it later in your program, it's probably because you had an extra letter here redeclaring it. It's like you overwrote your file, and then it goes away. You just want one copy of it, and for this class, they're all global. They all live at the very top. That's where you declare your variables. And if you continue with me for Computer Programming B, we'll talk about scope and why that is. For now, we're skipping over that topic. Just have them all up here. You should avoid most of those issues. So I initialized it down here, and now let's try to use it. Let's have our first word be that yes. The second word will be no. And then the third word is going to be maybe. Notice the syntax there. They're words, so I have to have little quotations. And what separates each element or each thing inside your list is a comma. So it's the first thing, yes, I press a comma. I type in no, don't forget the quotations, and I press a comma, that's the second thing, and that's the third thing. And notice at the end, you don't have an extra comma here. If you write a comma, it expects to see another element, another number, another word, another variable, whatever. Okay? So really, we're initializing answers arrays to be our list of words. And then, so you have some notes to go back to. Notice that yes is the first word. It's in position 0. Textbook down here. Yeah. No is the second word. It's in position 1. Maybe is the third word. It's in position 2. So everything in computer science, at least it's most conventional that arrays start counting at 0. We don't start counting as 1 as we do normally when we talk. The first, we want to think that's 1. It's going to be a test question probably. I'll say arrays start at 1. The first element is position 1, and that's wrong. It's actually the second element. That's going to come in handy because after we declared it, when we're accessing different words, notice down here, if we just want to do a straight replacement, this is the word yes corresponds with which position in answers? What number should go in here? Although it's the first thing, let's see what happens. So when we run this and we see a 1, come on, blasted, random, see, oh, look what happened. Wait, that's not what we expected. When we put answers 1 there, we see the word no, and then we scroll back up to look at our array. Notice this is position 1. The first thing should be here, position 0. Now we save and run, and we get 1 to we get 1 to appear. Now we see the word yes. Notice here when we access parts of the array, it's like this is the, what is it? This is like your street, and then this is your address number, right? For your like your home location. So answers 1 goes here, answers 2 go here. And code-wise, this works now. We're using the array, but really there hasn't much, not much has changed. 1, we see yes. 2, we see no. 3, 3, there was a typo because I forgot the yes. So when I save and run this, when I see the word 3, I see the word maybe. Now let's condense that even more. So notice my if statement, I don't really need that there. I could mass comment all this out. So instead of just line by line checking things, I'm going to do something and just use this text word. Okay? Each time I click the screen, right now, if I save and run this, I'm always going to see save, run. Did I break it? I think I did. I think I miscommented out this last thing. There we go. Save and run. Now we always see the word yes. And notice the position or the address is a number. So we could put Beanos die value there. Let's see what happens. So 5, we see save, run. So when we generate the number 2, we see the third word. When we see the number 1, we see the second word. When we see the number 2, when we see the number 3, nothing's there, so nothing is displayed. 2 is maybe, so on and so forth. And now if we add in some more words, we can probably get some more things to appear. Or is it possibly, it is so. I forget some of the other responses. Blah. Who is Joe? Okay. And then lastly, we'll have, of course, the mother. Okay, so let's see what happens now. Okay, the random number that was generated was 5, so let's check our array. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We saw the word blah. We click the screen. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We saw it is so. Run again. We saw 2, 0, 1, 2. We see the word maybe. We see the word 1, because that's in position 1. We see possibly. And if we keep, okay, then we saw who is Joe there, correct? And then I ask you, are we ever going to see mama or yes?
Nah, because of the array.
And right now, I remind you, because I'm basing it off the die rolls, the only possibilities right now are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we see all these words. Notice the length of my list is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things. Yes, you don't know who Joe is, nor will you ever get the word yes. So we need to make a little bit of modifications to get yes to appear and mama to appear. Your 8-ball example, I think there are 16 or so answers or something like that. This is similar. You'll have to type them all in, and then the random part of your range has to change, right? You have to be able to display that first answer. So that modification looks like over here, your random values, you have to be able to generate 0. And I think if we go back to something smaller, I don't know what happens if it gives you a negative number. And then this one, we have to make it increase more. We want you to round down from 8. Let's see if we ever see the word yes. Ah, okay, we saw the word yes. I clicked too fast. Okay, there's the word yes. And let's see if we can ever get mama to appear. Oh, so something funky happens here, right? I didn't say those two words together. So this is something strange. Like we see position 8 and we're like, wait a second, how come nothing appears? We remind ourselves. We look up at the array, position 0, position 1, position 2, position 3, position 4, position 5, position 6. This is actually position 7. We didn't need to go all the way up to 8. So then right here, really it's 7.4. And now we can get the word mama to appear. That. Yes? That's your example. Notice the lines of code we started with looks like so. We could have done this using just variables, just using text and if statements. And now look at our end result. We have one kind of complicated line that has a lot going on. We're using the array. The array has a random number inside, which lets us display a random value from your list/array. I hope this helps you for your 8-ball assignment. The last part involves toggling, and I really want to leave that up to you all to figure out. The lines of code are very simple, but the ideas are very profound. You are or you are not. You've partitioned your world in two. It's either 0 or 1. You're in one half or the other. That's my one hint to you. Time is yours. Please work on your assignments as I upload this to the tube